Hello there, and welcome to another episode of A Thought in Progress, subtitled I Have Something to Say. I wanted to say a little something about uh, the general idea of this channel. I probably should have said something in the earlier episodes, but um, I was just figuring out what exactly I wanted to include in those episodes. So now we're at the third episode, and I'm not entirely sure what else I have to say, and that's kind of funny. Um, it's entitled A Thought in Progress, and I think that says it all right there. This is raw, unedited footage. It's not live, but it's the next best thing. There's no fanciness here, except for my hat, maybe, which I like to match with my shirt. But I think it's important to be honest with ourselves and with our society and the world, and really put ourselves out there. And I've had several people after viewing, I've sent links and messages with the first two episodes to several of my coworkers, colleagues, friends, support system, and I've gotten some good feedback. Many people were very uh, they thought I was being courageous, and they couldn't believe how honest I was and all this. And I think that's lacking in the world today. Everybody wants to get rich quick. Everybody wants to, I have to be this and this and this and this other thing, and I have to do this and that, and to try and fit in. And that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, who are we, right? Uh, who do we want to be, and where are we going? Um, so that's kind of a general introduction to what I'm trying to do, right? Um, so yeah, so this is me, Jason W. Tapscott. I'm a professional CPS, in other words, a professional crazy person, certified peer specialist. I run groups at a recovery community center. I write books. I'm an author. I'm working on my third book right now. You can find those at jasontapscott.com or on Amazon as ebooks, very cheap, 99 cents each. The first ebook that I wrote was a little short, but its sequel is much better. So just give it a chance. Give it a chance, and see what I have to say there, right? Because I think it's important to have something to say. I think it's important to express ourselves. Outward social expression is one of the main ways we deal with anxiety, and it's not good to isolate either. So everybody watching this, including myself, we all need to put ourselves out there more and really trust ourselves, trust our instincts, trust what we have to say, trust our voice. Because if we don't do that, then we become background noise. We become extras in our own movie, right? And we don't want to do that. We want to take a leading role. So today I wanted to, I guess, give you some general ideas about who I am and where I've come from. Y'all know I've spent some time in prisons and mental hospitals. I've said that before. I got out of prison. Excuse me. I got out of prison in July of 2015, and had my own place by February of 2017. Right, and there's more story there, but it's not what I want to talk about today. By I believe by September of had to be September of 2017. I had gotten my certificate as a peer specialist, and that was a big moment for me, especially because I was still in school. I had been going to college for 17 years off and on. That's another thing that I got accomplished on. In June of 2018, I got a bachelor's degree in psychology, which I'm very proud of, and um, uh, thank you everybody for supporting me. Whoever was there supporting me for that. It's a community. Every accomplishment of mine is a community accomplishment, and I think it's important to see it that way. I've been working for a year and 4 months. I still get a disability check, um, and I ended up with subsidized rent, so I pay about 35% of my income, and that's my rent, and then the city pays for the rest. So these are all ways that I've taken the luck and I've built on it. I've gotten a lot of lucky breaks. Really, I probably should still be in prison, or well, no, I shouldn't still be in a hospital, but I should still be in prison probably with some of the stuff I've done or been accused of doing. Um, and so I want to take my freedom and do something positive with it. The other day at work, we were talking about changing negative thoughts into positive ones. Well, my whole life has been filled with negative experiences, and I've chosen to do something positive. I've chosen to write. I've chosen to host this channel. Um, I've chosen to take a step in advocacy. I just got done an advocacy seminar series that I had a presentation on Wednesday, and this YouTube channel was part of that process. And I also wrote an op-ed. So look for an op-ed. It should be published soon. I don't know how that works, but we're shopping it around, and hopefully it gets published. It'll be about mental health and mental health stigma. Same thing as this channel, really. And so all these things happening, and that's well and good. But for me, real wellness starts when with mantras, right? So I will start to doubt myself. I call it transition anxiety. When I go from one activity to the next, there's that moment of consciousness and awareness for me, and call it self-consciousness if you want. There's that moment of awareness where I just say, wait, what am I doing? What am I about to do? And am I doing the right thing? And all this. So that's that transition anxiety. I don't know if that's a phrase, but I think I just coined it. And so in those moments, hold on a second. In those moments, I have mantras that I use. So the moment might be, I might be worrying about something or doubting myself, and I'll just simply tell myself to hang in there, and I'll repeat it as many times as I need to. Maybe I'm worrying about something. Maybe I'm walking outside. I'm going to the bank, and I'm worrying about various things. What if I lose my bank card? What if my account's closed? What if this, that, and the other? And I'll simply use mantras. I'll say nothing to worry about to myself in my head, right? And that seems to work. It's gotten me to where I am today. And it's something I developed along the way, really by accidental discovery, because I think that's how we progress, right? Trial and error and accidental discovery, and we evolve as people, and we don't evolve in a vacuum. So that works for me. What else should we talk about today? How about we go back a little bit into my past? I talked a little bit about it in the first episode about being abused as a child, and that has a lot of ramifications later on. When I was abused at age 4, I had trouble all growing up, and when I became a teenager, my dad could tell I was really struggling, right? I was in a lot of trouble mentally and spiritually and emotionally. And my dad sat me down, and he tried to explain that whoever I was intended to be at the beginning of my life, as an innocent little, baby, because of the trauma, because of the abuse, I could no longer be that person. It set me off on a new voyage, really, to who I am today. And what I mean by that is, if you take a timeline of someone's life and trauma happens, that timeline is going to divert to a completely different set of circumstances, a completely different personality, really. And I'm no longer angry about it, no longer angry about, I'm a different person because of that. But that's kind of how life goes, right? And not only am I not angry, I wouldn't say I was thankful for those experiences, because I've been through a lot of trauma, but I'm appreciative of where they brought me and who I am today, right? Now I want to talk a little bit about therapy. When I was a child, when it first happened. Well, let's go back to the trauma itself, the abuse itself, and how that all happened. What happened was I was going to this babysitter. My parents really should have known better because it was a crappy house like next to a railroad track or something ridiculous. But they didn't have a lot of money, so that was a cheap place for them to take me, you know. And my mom must have saw something in the paper. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I was a kid. This is my understanding of it as a child. But she noticed something in me and had this sense that something was wrong. And I think she saw like a drawing in the paper about someone who was abusing kids. And to her, it looked like my babysitter, something like that, right? So she kept asking me, you know, is he touching you? Is something happening? Did he do this? Did he do that? And I kept saying no. I kept saying no. And partly I said no when I was a kid because for one I had no agency. I had no like self-awareness. I was still very young. And the other part was whenever he did allegedly abuse me sexually, I was so good at blocking it out that I really believed nothing was happening at the time. I was really messed up kid because of it, you know. And there are little things that happen, like little intrusive thoughts and weird thoughts about authority figures and all this weirdness going on in my mind now because I was so young and that happened, and I got really confused, and I'm still working on it today. But it's my pleasure to be honest about it with you guys and to really, because it's kind of opening up a can of worms, right? Because when my mom found out that I was being abused and asking all these questions of me and the people involved there, several people in our neighborhood, in our community, told her, "Don't rock the boat. Don't open the can of worms. Just sweep it under the rug." And that's what they used to do back in the day. You know, sexual abuse of children, I'm sorry to say, I'm afraid to say, I'm upset to say, is very common. And lots of times, no one says anything, you know. So, anyway, eventually I said, yeah, something's happening. And I broke down and I cried to my mom, you know. But partly I feel like I did that because she was pressuring me, like I wanted to please her. So there's still a part of me that doesn't know if it happened or not, which is really upsetting and really hard to deal with. That ambivalence, that uncertainty. But I think because I was so young, it's a natural part of it. So you know, we went and we told the cops. I told the cops. It's none of it is in my mind. I don't remember any of it. I remember bits and pieces, but it doesn't form a cohesive picture for me because I was so confused and messed up. And it still affects my relationships today, sad to say. So, you know, that's tough. That's tough. Why don't we leave it there? I might do another episode Christmas Eve. But this was really tough today. Really tough for me to talk about. But I think it's going to heal me in the long run, and it's going to help other people too. Because that's what we need to do. We need to find our voice. We need to find out, who am I? Answer those questions. Who am I? What am I about? What do I have to say? Right? Okay. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon.